Hey everyone out there in YouTube land, I hope you had an awesome Christmas, or as some of us like to call it, the day of the Doctor Who Christmas special. This was a really important episode in the Whovian Universe. It was the end of Matt Smith as being the Doctor. It was his final episode, and he regenerated to Peter Capaldi at the end. And now, once the season starts over again, I think in March, we will have a brand new Doctor. So I just want to go ahead and say here that there's probably going to be some spoilers, but if you're watching this video, you've probably already seen the episode, probably several times. I know I've already seen it twice so far. I just finished watching it again. First thing I want to talk about is the things that I didn't like about this episode. If you were on Twitter last night or Google+, believe it or not, there is a very big Doctor Who fandom on Google+. A lot of the geeks seem to really like Google+. And there was a lot of mixed reviews about this episode. And I agree, it has its good points and bad points. And one of its bad points, I think, is that parts of it seemed really rushed. Like, there were some slow parts that seemed that didn't need to be slow, and then there were some very rushed parts that I wish some things were slightly more elaborated. So that is the thing that I didn't like about the episode. I felt that the flow could have been a bit more even and a bit better. But in all, I think it was a really good episode. One of the things that I loved about the episode was that everything in the Matt Smith universe, the 11th Doctor, finally got tied together. One of the big storylines that started at the beginning of Matt Smith was the cracks in the universe. And even though he heals the cracks in the universe, way back, long time ago, we never really figure out what was up with the cracks in the universe. We know that the TARDIS exploded, but we don't know why the TARDIS exploded. And now we finally figure that stuff out. Turns out that a faction of the Church of the Papal Mainframe broke off, splintered off, and that was Madame Gavarnian and her people. And what they did, their goal was to make sure that the Doctor never made it to Transalore, because there was a big war and it lasted centuries on Transalore. And that's what, when they're talking about she's trying to end this never-ending war, that is what she's talking about. So that really starts to make sense. So she is the mastermind behind everything. She is the one that blew up the TARDIS, created the cracks in the universe, and so that all got nicely tied together. A bit quickly, it was just like a few sentences. It was like, oh, this happened. So it might have been nicer to get a little bit more elaboration, but we do have everything tied up. We now know why the cracks in the universe happened. We now know who did it. So basically all those big story arcs that we felt never really got finished are finished now. So that, I think, is really cool. Next, and, everything was wondering about this after the 50th anniversary special, what is happening with Gallifrey, right? So we know that Gallifrey exists in a pocket universe somewhere, but we're wondering what's going to happen with it. And that is the big thing that we find here. He finds an extra crack in the universe that Gallifrey is sending a message through. So they are the ones that are sending this message that brought everyone to Transalore and started the war. Nobody wants the Time Lords to come back. Even if they're coming back in peace, it's going to create this war because all of these enemies are surrounding Transalore. So the Doctor is trying to prevent them from blowing up Transalore because he obviously wants the Time Lords to come back, but he also can't release the Time Lords and tell them it's okay to come back because it'll start the Time War all over again. Now, as you know, the Doctor is supposed to die in Transalore, but he's a Time Lord, and the people from Gallifrey can make things happen, right? At the very end, when he's about to die, Clara makes a plea to the Time Lords and says, you have to help him. You don't need to know his real name. He is the Doctor, and that is the only thing that matters. And if you love him, you will help him. So they do. The Doctors give him more regeneration energy, or whatever it is they do, and he's kicked off in a brand new cycle now. So he's got 12 regenerations left because they gave him a brand new set of regeneration cycles. So that, fixes the whole canon of only 12 regenerations. Now he's skipped past it because the Time Lords gave him new regeneration. The one thing that I do think is weird about this episode, and correct me if I'm wrong here, maybe I'm a crazy person, but Clara's parents are supposed to be dead. And correct me if I'm wrong, when she's having Christmas dinner, those are her parents at the dinner table, are they not? And this I don't understand because that is an obvious, humongous plot hole. So I don't understand how that happened. But maybe they were aunt and uncle? I don't know. Maybe. But I get the impression that they're her parents, so I think that's a bit weird. All in all, though, I thought it was a really good episode, and Matt Smith had a tremendously good send-off at the end, and everything, was closed circle, and super massive spoiler alert, okay? And I don't know how this secret was kept on the internet. Like, good job to the BBC for keeping the secret, but Amelia Pond ends up saying goodbye to the Doctor right before he regenerates. It's not really her, obviously. He's having a vision, imagining. First he imagines Amelia as a girl, and then he sees Amy at the end, and she says, "Good night, Raggedy Man," and it's super sweet, and it'll bring a tear to your eye, even me, even though I have no soul. So it was an awesome end. I thought Matt Smith was a really good Doctor. I wasn't sure about him in the beginning, but I really think he proved himself to be an awesome Doctor. Even though everyone still likes David Tennant is the best, Matt Smith was still awesome. I'm sad to see him go, but I can't wait to see what Peter Capaldi does, and I can't wait to see what happens with the next season of Doctor Who, because everything is new now. Everything beforehand was him dealing with the guilt of destroying all the Time Lords and, all of that stuff. But that's gone now. The Time Lords are out there waiting to be found. So he's on a completely new adventure now going forward with the new Doctor. So I'm really looking forward to the new episodes. Tell me what you guys think. What did you think of the episode, the Christmas special? I know it was very polarizing on the internet. People were like, it was the worst episode ever. Other people are saying, oh my god, it was so amazing. Let me know what you guys think. I thought it was a good episode. It wasn't perfect. It was obviously not as good as the 50th anniversary special, which was just amazing. But I still thought it was a good episode. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Alright guys, until next time, love and bubbles.